All right, beautiful people, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's another beautiful episode of Flipside on Independent Television, reaching you live from the city of Benin. Now, for starters, Flipside is a unique show, a socio-cultural show that pinpoints certain issues in the society and seeks to dissect it and, of course, bring clarity to it. It airs every Wednesday on the station. My name is Harry Aigboje. And of course, it's my pleasure to have you join me on this lovely episode of the show. Now, today, we're having a very interesting conversation, something that has to do with our ivory tower, our higher institutions, a clarion call for reforms in the ivory tower. And most of the time, when we hear the term ivory tower, a lot of things come to people's minds, okay? I really don't know what comes to your mind, but, you know, there's something that actually does come to my mind. But before we get right into the business of the day, let me introduce my guests on the show. I've got two erudite analysts with me. They are really not new faces. To my far left is someone who happens to be a public affairs analyst. And of course, he's also a clergyman. He goes by the name of Kingsley Ikeke. Welcome on board, sir.
It's good to be back.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
And of course, seated next to Mr. Kingsley Ikeke is my brother and my friend, a social impact commentator, the one and only Favor Sadzi. Welcome on board, bro.
Thank you once again.
It's good to see you. All right, so we're talking about the ivory tower. So, like I said in the opening, whenever you hear the term ivory tower, something does come to mind. Something comes to my mind, but I really don't know what comes to your mind. So, let's set the motion for this conversation. Mr. Kingsley, what comes to your mind when you hear the term ivory tower? Is it limited to the university, or it has to do with all the institutions or higher institutions of learning?
Okay, thank you very much. I think in our part of the world is synonymous with universities.
Okay. Because
there are some rare privileges that they enjoy. And when you mention such phrase, ivory tower, it's quickly associated with the regular universities. But I want to believe that for any place of higher learning, higher impact and higher level of reasoning, they could be assigned the same status as an ivory tower.
Okay.
Because it's talking about a higher level of intelligence and a higher level of
beyond
reasoning.
The secondary level.
Yeah, above the secondary level. So you can also inculcate institutions of research, polytechnics and whatnot. As long as at that level you are getting some level of professionalism, you can.
So what makes the difference is professionalism.
In this part of the world, we've been so used to the university concept.
Okay.
And even when the government brought in the polytechnic concept and some other technical vocational concept, it has not really worked because they are always seen as second fiddle
to the university.
Yeah, and it has also impacted greatly in our advancement technical-wise. We are still backward because when you talk about technical education or technological education, if you go to other part of the world, they are highly revered because that is where innovations are churned out from. That's where creativity, that's where tech is really in display.
Okay.
Mostly what you get in the universities are people who will reason to design, or what we call maybe a design engineer, for instance. But when it comes to implementation, it is more, there are some universities that are called Federal University of Technology.
Okay.
You are trying to create a division between the regular university where you go and study more of the theoretical stuff.
Theoretical part. Okay.
Then create another kind of universities where you do more of the technical stuff. Practical stuff. And you can always relate the federal technologies with the polytechnic. You see the word polytechnic means technology.
Okay.
And when you see Federal University of Tech, it means technology. When you say universities, is a general place and mostly for brain work, reasoning. When it comes to bringing those things to tangibility, it's another ball game altogether. You need those with technical know-how to bring whatever you have designed in your head. You can have a design even as a layman.
Okay.
But you need a technical man to bring your design into reality.
Okay.
That's where the technology comes in. University of Technology, Polytechnic. To bring those technical concepts in your mind into reality, not visual. Making them real.
Does that also entail, or should I say include, the colleges of technology?
There's colleges of education.
Okay.
Once you use the word tech, it means there's tech. That is the difference between both of them. That word tech shows there is engineering, there is science, there is not just verbal reasoning, there is implementation of what is reasoned. You are reasoning, but you cannot bring what you are reasoning to bear. So when you bring the word technology, now we have entered a whole new dimension. It's not about telling me what you know. It's doing what you are saying, beyond just saying it verbally, making it real, making it embraceable, not in the air.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. I think that was a very good way to kickstart the conversation. Now, let me ask you, Favor, what are the reasons, or why do you think the cry for reforms in the higher institutions in the Ivory Tower has been at an all-time high lately? Because, you know, much of the conversations that we'll be having lately, you know, is the need to, should I say, step up Ivory Tower, you know, bring about the necessary reforms in our Ivory Tower. People have been saying that things are not the way they ought to be in our Ivory Tower. Now, what do you think is responsible for this outcry?
Yes, the reason is not far-fetched. For every investor, you expect to have returns for your investment. So investors here, as I want to consider it, will be both the students and the system itself. And the system has invested so much in trying to inculcate in students, young people, youths, and with the hope of this knowledge to bring back value for service. But in recent times, have we really gotten value? Have we really rather gotten the service that we expect from people who are churned out of these institutions yearly, year out? The big answer is no. And that's why you notice these days that look at a handful of graduates. They actually graduate with certifications that are not usable. They're not people with utility capacity. And if you look to do a survey or do an audit of these graduates that we see today, and ask 9 out of 10 to prepare a good resume, you might be disappointed on the result you get. Now, this is just a resume. I'm not saying call the industrial engineer or call the production engineer or call the electrical engineer, or let's use an electrical
But is that the fault of the products of the system or the system itself?
It's a fault of everybody.
So we all have a share of the blame.
We all have a share in the blame. Parents, the school, and the student. They're not leaving out the government. We are all intertwined in all of this problem. And look at it critically. Parents forcing children to go do what they are not interested in. That's a problem. School, when you apply for course A, they give you course D. And because pride would want to set in and say, let the child just do it, let it just do it and go after all, not be waiting.
But don't you think that's because, you know, some students or some candidates do not qualify or do not get what they actually deserved? Some of them, you know, do not qualify for what they, you know, asked for. For example, let's say while I'm sitting for JAM, I applied for medicine and I do not get medicine. Instead, I'm given maybe botany or anything of the sort. Don't you think that's a legit reason?
That could be a legit reason. But let me also ask another question. Nigeria is going for a competition and they do not qualify for first place. Have you ever seen a situation where they compensate them with second place?
That's a funny one though.
So you go back home and prepare for the next tournament, right? So but why don't we send them back home to prepare for the next?
So you're recommending that they send them home instead of giving them a second best?
That's the best thing to do, because see the effect of compensating them with another course of study. Now, say for example, botany, like you mentioned, has the capacity to take 100, right? 100 students. Yeah. And that's what the classroom can take, or that's what the system can take as at that time. Then we have 100 persons that have been admitted duly by virtue of their first choice of application into botany. Now, you are not having a spill from those that applied for the medicine, say 50 more to add to the 100 that the capacity is supposed to take. What happens to the extra 50? You see how the process is already getting squeezed and distorted.
Clogged,
Now, this will happen in not just botany, will happen in animal and environmental science, will happen in science lab tech, will happen in microbiology, will happen in biochemistry. How many of these SSs can the system contain and take? You see the problem. So, but if you send them home, and if students know very well that if I don't perform, I don't get it, maybe we all would actually sit up and not hope to be compensated.
Okay, so you think that will encourage them to work harder?
That's one solution to
the
the
problem.
many problems.
I will actually hope that you're able to address the other solutions, because it's actually a very broad subject, and as we progress in this discourse, we'll be able to touch every single aspect of it. Now, let me get back to you, Mr. Kingsley. What are the major challenges currently facing higher education or higher institutions?
I think for our country, the first major issue is corruption. And secondly, funding. You know why I say corruption, like you were trying to highlight just now. You know, even when you don't meet the minimum requirement to be admitted into maybe College of Medicine, if you have the resources or you have the connection, you can still get there.
Yes.
Connection.
Yes, and eventually the person may not have the competence to run that program effectively.
Wow.
And sometimes it's even worse when you now look at the presence of private universities. Someone who was rejected from a federal university, if he has the money, he can go with same result.
Irrespective of their
mental of his performance. He may just score an average of 50 or 50 something, thereabout, because those universities are geared towards profit making. They are not interested in just quality. They give you a minimum requirement, you have about 60 or less than that. Why University of Benin, you'll be talking about 80, 82 to enter school or College of Medicine.
So there are private
in some private schools.
There are private institutions that boast of quality education and, of course, quality output.
What's the yardstick to judge quality?
You see, sometimes we admit people even with a lower minimum requirement, and they excel eventually, they pull through.
Exactly.
But once we have set a bar, we should stick by the bar.
Okay.
Your cutoff mark is independent to the universities. The cutoff mark for University of Benin is not the same with Unilag or IFE. It's different. It's even worse off when you now come to private school. If someone is not competent to even be in pharmacy or lab science, is now giving medicine because he wants to study medicine and does not have the competence. Eventually, that person graduates and becomes a disaster. It's a major problem of his own, based on the issue of regulation. Then the issue of funding. And I was trying to Google, I've heard it severally, I just tried to Google to check the level of remuneration given to teaching profession, academics or lecturers. If you go to Google and try to find out what we earn compared to what other African countries earn, you pity this country. In fact, it's a disgrace. I sometimes won't use the word giant of Africa. It's a wrong terminology, because people countries as small as Botswana, Ghana, Kenya are paying their lecturers better than Nigeria. And when you look at the resources we have, the manpower we have, now if you have a teaching staff or a professor or an associate prof taking a course, and he has myriads of problems at home that needs finance, how do you expect him to concentrate or do the needful? We should also shy for the fact there's also corruption in the system, that you can bribe your way through school. And that happens because most of the times the resources available to the academians or to the teaching staff are very minimal, barely able to meet their basic needs.
So they don't have enough motivation?
No, enough. It was even this year, it was recently that they signed a new agreement which took professors' money to close to $1 million. That's about 900 and something. A counselor with a primary school certificate, not even passed, is earning better than a professor. That's your peak of learning. That's your peak of attainment as far as a teaching profession is concerned. And someone who is a counselor, not even a local government chairman, not even a commissioner, earns more than you. Then how do they expect you to give your all? In fact, they were almost going for a major strike before this agreement was struck recently. That now took the money from about 500 and something maximum to about 9 something. I don't know how to put it. You can't place it. Then when you now check with the current economic hardship, it means a professor at the end of the whole year can barely put his resources together to get a bed junker. So you see now he can easily be induced, because when you make people to feel insufficient, they begin to fall to other vices. So I feel
which could also be corruption in the
Yes, exactly. So there's corruption in the system. There's poor funding as far as remuneration is concerned. It's a strike. Most times you see strike. is based on funding. The level of funding is bad.
We definitely will get to that part because, like I said, it's a very broad subject, and hopefully that particular part of the conversation we will touch it as we progress in this conversation. Well, if you're just joining us, it is Flipside on Independence Television, and we're discussing the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. We shall be going on this break now. The program continues afterwards. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Yes, it's good to have you back. It's still Flipside on Independence Television, and we're taking a look at the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. Now, let's shift our focus to, a more important aspect of this conversation, which has to do with the university curriculum. Now, how relevant are current university curricula to today's job market? I'm directing that question to you, Favor.
I think the current curriculum is very irrelevant. It is not productive. And I'm not just saying it by virtue of speculation. I'm saying it by the standards of what we've seen. I'll posit an example for you. If you have any professional teacher as a friend, you can call him or her to ask these questions. Before, when you graduate as a teacher, and there's a professional exam you need to write. It's called the TROCN or so. And that's Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. I'm not very sure. But the purpose of the exam is to say, not until you're able to pass that exam, you're not a professional teacher. You do not have a license to teach.
Okay.
Now, see the interesting part of the examination. Nobody fails the exam. Once you take the exam, you must pass. That's one.
So you are guaranteed to pass.
You must
So
pass.
what's now the essence of the examination?
Then two. Now,
For funding.
let's take a look at the kind of questions you see in the exam. I'm not speculating.
Okay.
When did Nigeria become a republic?
Such basic questions.
Who was the first this of
the
Nigeria?
first Prime Minister of Nigeria?
What is the first university in Nigeria? How many universities do we have in? Now, you look at a system, an exam that is supposed to say, oh, let me assess this person, if this person can inculcate or influence decisions.
And if they are qualified.
If the exam is asking me when did Nigeria become a republic? No critical thinking, no creativity, no thought for what not and what not. Just questions of when, on what, not how, not reasoning. Come on. And I'm supposed to be a teacher that will go back and be able to psychologically assess and influence people. It doesn't work. So at what level?
Are you saying that the examination is rigged in favor of the,
it's just like he said, it's just a revenue generating. The thing is, education has been too commercialized. It's now more of business. And that's how you see when we were talking the other time about how spillage from another department will affect, because they just have to accept more students so they can generate more money or make more money. Which money, of course, is not even shown in the institution as by virtue of infrastructure.
Yes, I was actually coming to that because do you think it's wise to just dismiss the financial angle to this conversation?
But where is the money? If we see the money, have you gone to the hostel in this university that is close to us here?
So you're saying that the money is not reflecting?
I'm not saying it. It is what it is.
Okay.
It's not what I'm saying. It is what it, have you gone to the hostel? Forget about what you see when you pass that highway, you go Lagos Road Highway, that light.
Yeah.
Have you gone inside the school? Have you gone to classes? Do you know where we took practical classes? Do you know the reagents that we used were outdated? So we're never reacting. We just assume numbers or figures of optical densities and just put it there. Do you know that sometimes when you're having your project done, you just go and you can lift a project work. If you can find a topic that is the same as yours, just pull the back and rebind it and submit it. The lecturer will still approve it for you. And if you want to form an oversabi student, in quote, you actually want to go and do research and bring you data and new information, you may end up not finishing that project with your mates. Because you are just giving the lecturer work to actually go and study. That's not what he knows. He already has a marking scheme. You are now challenging that marking scheme. How many lecturers can integrate AI to the field of studies they do now? I'm talking to a lecturer and I'm saying your data is exhausted, and he's telling me what's data. That is where we are. So where does the curriculum come? You are using an old playbook for a system of today. It's never going to work. Have you not seen department where the questions they've been setting for the past 10 years have still been the same? These are questions that are supposed to assess people and make them who they supposedly want to become. For a problem of today, and the problem that we consider today in this country, is it the same as the problem we were considering 5 years ago? Is it the same problem we're considering 10 years ago? The dynamics have changed. So why have we refused to change the curriculum? You know why? It's laziness. It has always been about, as far as I can eat, feed my family, we go to church on Sunday, back home on Monday, life goes on. Nobody should change this system. Nobody should challenge the system, because it's going to create work for those people who are supposed to be custodians of the system. That is where we are.
I'm actually glad that you mentioned the laziness part. And I would like you to respond to that, Mr. Kingsley. Do you think this can be attributed to laziness, or it boils down to the same corruption factor that you made mention of earlier?
It's both, my brother. It's both. You know, they say to whom much is given, much is expected. If you are giving little, you won't put much. Because you look at the output of what you get at the end of the day. Why trouble myself? So you just bring the same old question, give it to them, let them go and do it. Why stress yourself when you are not properly remunerated? That is where the bulk of the problem lies. You know, those are internal issues, though. There are external issues. He's talking about AI, talking about innovations. First thing first, let's look at the government. Like I asked earlier, where's the power? I do a lot of work in the laboratory. Where's the power to power the machines? There are certain works that should be with power for 12 to 24 hours, non-stop. And when there's a break in, when there's an outage in power, that work is invalid. You have to start again. Who has that time and resources to invest? You know, in developed countries, outside power being steady, if a part of your utility is internet. You want to run an AI-driven institution. You want to run a tech-driven institution. And the students don't even have access to internet.
Just like
they don't have the gadgets to access the internet.
Made mention of a while ago. Exactly.
So it's a whole lot of problem, because if you're saying that we should go to the current trend of how things should be done, it means both the lecturers and the students must be properly equipped. You know, I told you I was in China last year.
Yeah.
I went with my laptop. But you know, I didn't have to use the laptop all through my 2-week stay. I left it in the place I was staying, because the desktop I had is more than 100 times richer than the laptop I came with.
So
it had everything.
Was more or less irrelevant.
It had all the software I needed. I didn't need any marker board. I didn't need any biro to jot anything. Everything is software. You can see them there. You program your stuff. You use these 3D machines. You see the results. It's tangible. It's not just head knowledge. And there's like 247 to even access your university or the place where we stayed. They use what called facial recognition. You don't have to have a gate man, like they just come. Once you put your face, it opens for you. He knows you are one of the persons within the campus. They've gone that far. We don't have those resources. We're talking about life. Look at Edo State. Recently, a few days ago, I heard that the Edo State House of Assembly gave is it 4 months ultimatum to BDC to improve power. There's no power. What are you running? Only a very few schools, like maybe Covenant, I know that they have maybe 247 power. And they are among the front runner. Go and check the ranking. They are always among the front runner universities in Nigeria. And they fall among so that the first 1,000 in the world, because they've inculcated certain things. Internet facilities, power, constant power supply, which many of us in the regular schools don't have.
And these are basic necessities.
Yes. And for you to go to such schools, you need to have the financial muscles. And if you're saying, all of us should now go to private school, how many of us can pay? It means that whatever the government is doing now is grossly inadequate. I know they are doing certain things. It's still not adequate to resolve the mirage of problem that is plaguing the Ivory Tower. It's too much. What we need is a overhaul, the curriculum overhaul. We are trying to make some changes. Like I said one time I was here, in introduction of skill acquisitions, entrepreneurship concept into the curriculum. But you see, there are lots of limitations. You know, I had a friend I was in a program at the time. He's now in the US, program in Brazil. What they do, one of the things they do is that no school of that level of learning is not attached to an industry or a company. Your school must be attached. It's a symbiotic kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Whenever there are problems like he was saying, you know, they have current problems. They're not looking at your old curriculum. Whatever their problems are, they share with the institution of higher learning, the places of research. We're having this challenge in making this waste into a viable product. They're not pumping money in that area, and people are not going to research. They probably will not have time to sleep, but because they know there's money, they have comfort, they have light, they have all the facilities, they will be there till they're able to resolve the problem of that company. The company eventually, when the problem is resolved, becomes a profit spinner for the company. But here, you see the school existing in isolation, industries in isolation. By the time you graduate students and you are sending them to the regular world or the industry, they look as complete strangers or people who have not been trained, because there's been this disconnect between the industries or the companies with the school of learning or the ivory tower, like earlier called
Do
it.
you really think it's practically possible to create a synergy between the the industry and the academic
Very,
system?
very possible. By the time I heard University of Benin came up with the sickle cell remedy for sickle cell, but I did that brought into the light of day. They've done a lot of work on managing the diabetic patients, or to a very good extent. But you see, who is partnering? If I come up with a concept that can, take care of diabetic patients, where do I have the money to establish a standard, pharmaceutical company that can make those products, make them in commercial quantity? That's another problem. Although the government, to be fair to them, if you have some concept with the help of TED Fund, you can produce them, but you cannot mass produce. So they create another avenue for you to interface with industry. But that's not how it ought to be. It ought to be from day one.
Okay.
There's a partnership with the school and with the industry. Not at the end of your research or at the end of your innovation. No. They should be part of the problem solving.
Okay.
And when the result comes out, there should be a pattern of sharing, a sharing formula, both for those who were in the research lab and for those who were funding the research.
Okay.
At the time, Bill Gates voted about $1 billion for looking for vaccine for malaria. And he doesn't have malaria problem in his country, but he committed resources to find the vaccine. If that comes out, he will be in charge of the profit or whatever. He will have the commercial right or the patent right, because he is the one that is funding the process. So a lot of funding is needed when it comes to School of Higher Learning. And we have not learned that, because if you check some countries, look at Britain, look at Japan, they don't have anything. They don't have resources. We have resources, but we lack brain.
Is it
What
that we
they are
lack-
selling
is it that
are
we
the
lack-
intellectuals.
What do we really lack? Is it the brain or the willpower to do the needful?
Okay, let me put it two ways.
Okay.
The brain is a part of it, but mainly the leadership. You see, if you understand when you say you have resources, it's not just the mineral resources alone. In fact, your best resources are your human resources.
Human resources, yeah.
And when the human resources that are best in your country are going to other country for greener pasture, how will your country ever develop? Because they are poorly funded, they are poorly paid. If you're doing this your work now somewhere in another country in Europe, I bet you'll be in money.
Word. All right, that was a very good one. Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. In case you're just joining us, it's Flipside on Independent Television, and we're taking a look at the clarion call for reforms in the ivory tower. Well, we shall be going on this break now. The program continues thereafter. Stay tuned. All right, it's still Flipside on Independent Television, and I'd like to direct this question to you, Sadzi. While he was analyzing the concept a while ago, he made mention of the fact that the system might need a complete overhaul. And of course, I'm sure to the average layman out there, that might mean a complete transformation, like destroying the current system and introducing a new one. Now, I would like you to throw more light on that.
I personally think, okay, talking about overhaul, it may not be to brace the buildings down and start another one.
Okay.
We are talking about system and curriculum overhaul.
Yeah.
It is not applicable. It is not applicable, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's that we are ready to change it and face the consequence, which would put everybody.
I remember you saying a while ago that it's outdated. What do you mean by that?
It's very outdated. Take for example, like I mentioned before, trying to bring questions of 2010, 2012, 2014 in 2026, where it does not even. Okay, now let's take for example. Recently in medicine or medical practice, there are a lot of things that have changed. At the point you see that the anti-malaria that was being used 5 years ago has been banned.
Okay.
Yeah. So imagine asking or assessing students based on the practice of or on the use of those kind of regimen
That have been banned.
But why do we see this happening in faculties of engineering, faculties of sciences, where the origin of these things are supposed to be? But that is just one out of many problems.
Yeah.
You could overhaul the system today, but I don't think it's just an overhaul problem. The overhaul that I think we should be considering here is the mindset. That mindset cuts across. It cuts across the school, it cuts across the students, it cuts across the parents, which are the foundational
and also
problem.
cuts across the curriculum
itself. That curriculum is just a product of
the
mindset of the people. They thought and said, this is what we need, right? So if they sit down today again and say, this is what we also need, it's just going to be a result of the meeting that we'll hold. But not until they have decided, not until they have even agreed that there is a problem, we will not go anywhere. Parents are the problem, and I can prove it.
All right, Mr. Kingsley, yeah, an overhaul of the system.
Okay, the word overhaul is okay. Look at it this way. In secondary school, most times it's when you are getting towards preparing for your WAEC exam that you enter the lab.
Yes.
You just one or two practicals, that is it.
Fractional distillation.
Yes. You see, for you to be a master, there must be a high level of repeatability of a particular concept. The more you do it, the better you become. And when someone, because of WAEC, is now doing titration, you see, he's not going to deliver because he's not a master of that concept. So somehow somebody will be aided so that he can go to the next level. At certain level, there's a certain level of technical knowledge that you should have. And because of the cost of making those things available, that's when they are consumables. The school and even government, they are reluctant. How do I put such money every year and things are used and discarded? But what you are creating is a mastery. And as people begin to go from level to level, somebody will come with a concept in that tutorial or that teaching or practical that will help minimize the costs of those consumables. But because they're not even exposed in the first instance, you see someone who has graduated from the power of computer science is still yet to have access to computer. And we are still working with that same concept. And not the first time they brought computer to my school. You know what they asked us to do? So we said, we have computer course. They took us to the computer room. They said, this is the on button. We pressed the on button. It came up. Then this is the off button. Off is shut down. Don't press anything again. And we left. Is that the way to train a person? You see, until we change our pattern, we'll keep having the same problem. Look at the curriculum. I did an exam, a PhD exam, admission exam some years ago. It was to do a program in Brazil. It was a scholarship program. When they were telling me read for the program, I said, what is this? Is it not chemistry? What am I reading? There was no invigilator. There was no camera watching what I was doing. I was with my system and the question starts. I didn't see the regular chemistry questions. Things they were asking me were structures that have to do with vaccines that are very recent, to identify certain things inside those structures. It was really something I needed to have been inside to be answering. I got to a point and I was not making much progress. I was in the room when I was doing the exam, and I came to the dining room. I told my, please give me food. I'm in trouble, I'm tired. The time was already running. Because
the entire thing was totally alien to you.
It was alien, it was tough. No examiner.
I'm happy
it's purely reasoning.
Wow.
And if you don't understand the concept, the answer is buried inside the puzzle.
So you have to know it to
You
be able
have
to
to
provide
know,
that
you have to
info.
understand it. It's not beyond just having head knowledge.
I think the
to
key is
navigate your way.
understand.
And
Yeah.
all they were doing was not the old version chemistry.
Oh.
They were looking at chemistry as in the so-called, when you have a like you say, let me see what dogoyaro now.
Yeah.
It has what called quinine, for instance, and that quinine is what you use to make what called chloroquine.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll be looking at the chloroquine as that's a synthetic drug, and you'll be identifying certain things in the structure, because when you have the natural product, if you want to mass produce, you have to have a template of the natural product to make a synthetic product.
Yeah.
So you now have to understand that structure very well before you can even talk about the production. So it was dealing with current issues. And like he said, we have curriculums that have stood for decades.
And
They have remained.
have become obsolete.
They've become like Methuselah. They need to be adjusted.
Okay.
Maybe not everything, but half of the curriculum should be discarded. Things that relate with current trend. You are dealing with current issues.
So they should be updated.
They should be updated to meet current demands.
Realities, okay.
Yes, correct. That is not the one we have been doing as it were in the beginning. We are not God Alpha and Omega that does not change. We change. We are humans.
You're a changeable changer.
So we are supposed to change, and that is the dynamic of life. Because prior to this time, we never knew that there could be solar panels. But from the inception of life, God has always known that, because the plant makes their food from sunlight. They trap the light from the sun.
Photosynthesis.
With the help of the chlorophyll there, with special porphyrin, and they make their food. It's not that man is observing and discovering it, and now using it to generate light for himself. So life is that dynamic. It's not static, because God that made us, we are yet to get to 100 of the intelligence that He has imputed in man. And that's why we must always be dynamic with our curriculum, with our behavior, looking at current trend. What is the best approach to this matter? What is the best approach to this matter? So I'm not talking about just bringing everything down. No. What can be discarded?
Okay.
Like I said, if you are in secondary school, they should not give you unnecessary numbers of subjects, 20 subjects, French, history, Yoruba, Hausa.
More than your brain can carry.
You don't need them.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley. Now, let's talk about corruption within the ranks of should I say, the academia. Sadzi. I can see you smiling and nodding your head like you have a whole lot to say. So let's get out with it.
Corruption. Is there any place in the public sector where there is no corruption?
Thank you.
Corruption is the system.
It's not in the system, but the system itself.
It's the system. So the school or the ivory tower is just one part of the public sector that happens to
be suffering the
same corruption. Is it the law enforcement? Is it the civil service? The civil service is not civil. So I don't even think we should bother ourselves talking about corruption, because when the system is good, it will be reduced to the barest minimum. I said it, yes, the barest minimum. I said it here one time that how do you explain parents trying to lobby their way into school for their children? So if the opportunities are not there for corruption cannot thrive. Go and check your house. If you raise your chair, you must see dust. No matter how much you think you clean your house every day, the day you raise that chair, you must see dust. But what about the center? It's always clean, right?
Yeah.
Because broom they reach there, so to speak, or you get to clean those areas. You see those areas that are not cleaned, they will always get dusty. So we have a responsibility to always go around and check those places. But when there are not tools, or the system does not favor those kind of checks, the dust will always remain there. And so whenever you put your hand there, whatever comes out will always be what? Dust. But be that as it may, it is what has come to be. But what is the way forward?
Just before we get to the way forward, and please, I need you to hold that thought, because that's exactly where I want this conversation to move next, okay? What is the way forward? Because it's easy to sit back and analyze all the problems, but we should be more concerned about the way forward, the solution to all of these problems. But that will be right after this break. Please stay tuned.
ITV. ITV, certainly the best.
All right, welcome back. This is the final lap of Flip Side for today, and of course I still have my amazing and erudite gentleman right here in the building with me. And I need us to talk about the way forward. You were actually going there before we went on that break, Favor. So tell me, what do you think is the way forward as we begin to wrap up now?
Yeah, I think mindset shifts, a very big mindset shift, will go a long way. I think the political willingness would also go a long way. And I think a lot should be done in the homes. I also think that parents should not over push their children. In that, for example, like I mentioned earlier, there's no point taking a child who is 1 year, 6 months old to any school. There's nothing to learn.
Too young?
Too young to learn. That child, the only learning that child needs as at that time is to be with the parents, how to eat, sleep, and play. And I also think that our religious institutions do also have a lot of roles to play. They can also help. Then lastly, I don't want to point fingers at the government. I don't want to point fingers at infrastructures that are not there, because we know very well how the young people of nowadays have navigated and have become what they've become. And that's why you notice that even when we leave the shores of this country, we excel to a very great extent. Then also, how do you explain the fact that a graduate of Christian religious knowledge or a graduate of international studies and diplomacy will still go to a bank and still get a job and still do his or her job, having not been trained as an accountant, an economist, or a banking and finance student? They still get trained, right? So that means it is not even a problem of what is being taught. It means anybody that is willing can do any job, at least at that level. So we have a lot to do. I think, like I said, it is a serious responsibility on us to shift our mindset.
It begins with our mindset. I guess that's what you're saying in essence. Now, Mr. Kingsley, I guess one of the major problems, or one of the major clogs in the wheels of progress, is the incessant strike. So what do you think is the solution to these incessant strikes in the Ivory Tower?
Well, for me to stop strike, let the school be properly funded infrastructure-wise, let the workers be properly paid the right wage. The minimum wage is signed of recent is no longer minimum. It has outlived its usefulness, with what we're seeing now has outlived its usefulness. Then second, I want to chip a few things into what he said. People should be held accountable for their actions. You see, we have a body that actually funds most of our work, research work and training. If TED Fund sends you for a training, you must retire it. You know, you can still steal. Like you said, I said it here once. I don't believe that as it stands now, there's any will to stop corruption in Nigeria. What we can do is to manage it. So if I give you a contract based on familiarity, I should ensure you do it, even if it's substandard. The idea of you taking money, I've seen that money is taken and nothing is done and nothing happens.
Impunity.
As long as people are not held accountable for their actions, we'll remain where we are. People should be punished when necessary. Even if the punishment is mild, there should be punishment.
To serve as a deterrent.
Yes, the idea of just letting them off the hook because of their status, as long as that remains, it sends a bad signal to the upcoming generation that nothing can happen. Just if you know your way, you can find your way out. Nothing will happen. It's not true. Even the President of America is still held accountable to a large extent.
In Nigeria, it's true.
No matter how highly placed he is, he's not entirely free. He is answerable to the people.
To the people, yeah.
So we must come to that level of understanding. Okay, look at it. They've removed subsidy. All this while. Do you know that they now pay more than 1.6 to 1.7 trillion? I mean, they share or disburse to 3 tiers of government every month, as against 600 and something, 700 billion they were sharing. It means they are sharing twice more than what they were doing before.
Where is it?
And let me let you know this: every governor, local government chairman are getting twice what they've got before.
All right.
And yet we are still where we are. Somebody is not doing something. Somebody is having money in his custody, is not doing anything about it, and is not held accountable. He's allowed to go scot-free.
So there has to be a culture of accountability.
Exactly. That's one of the ways we can move forward in this country.
Right.
If you're not going to give me the best, don't give me a zero response. I'm giving you investment. You must show me a value for my investment.
After all, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Sir.
All right, thank you so very much, gentlemen. It's been an amazing conversation with you. We've actually been taking a look at the clarion call for reforms in the Ivory Tower. Well, I guess you've heard from the horse's mouth. They've actually said a whole lot, and I'm actually hoping that the people at the helm of affairs do the needful, and I'm hoping that they've been taking notes, just so that when it's time to do the needful, they are able to put square pegs in square holes. Well, it's been Flipside on Independent Television, and I want to say a very big thank you to my guest once again for doing me the honor of being on the show with me. Let's do this again some other time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Harry Aigboje, and I'm saying, until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and bye for now.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari yari, Ọba Àtọ́pẹ́. Yari yari, Ọba Àtọ́pẹ́. Yari
The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as long as you can spin aqua seed. Ayo or aqua game, known as the game of intellectual. This game requires a lot of mathematical skills. Aqua game is played with carved wooden box containing 12 holes.
It is a beautiful Thursday morning right here in the ancient city of Benin, and it's my pleasure to have you join me on yet another lovely episode of your ultimate breakfast current affairs program on television. And I'm talking this morning on ITV TMI, reaching you live from our Benin studios. Now, a whole lot is happening in our country, and it is very pertinent that we beam our searchlight on some of those topical issues dominating our socio-political space. My name is Harry Aigboje, and it is my pleasure to have you join me on this episode of the show. Now, of course, right here in our Benin studio, there's a whole lot to talk about. But of course, it's not just going to be here. We're going to be interfacing with our Lagos and Abuja studios as well, where Ikaru Atta and of course Patricia Gabriels are on standby to, do justice to the topic for today. Now, first, let me see what Patricia Gabriels has for us right there in our Lagos studios. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning, Harry. How you doing?
I'm good.
And happy 29th year celebration.
Absolutely. Happy 29th year anniversary to you. All right, so what do you have for us?
So from Lagos, we'll be looking at
Go on.
We'll be looking at 2027. Elections are around the corner, so we're focusing on Lagos politics. Is there godfatherism in Lagos? Who becomes the next governor of Lagos State, or who becomes the next anything in Lagos State? Is it handpicked, or it is decided by the people of Lagos State? That's what we'll be looking at here from Lagos.
Indeed, godfatherism is a very serious issue, and it has, ravaged our political space for a couple of years now. And we're hoping that you guys are able to do justice to it right there in our Lagos studio. Now, let's see what Ikaru Atta has for us right there in the seat of power. Good morning to you, Ikaru.
A very wonderful morning, Harry Aigboje. Your cap look like one of those cap I know that the outgone Minister of Power, Adelabu, used to wear. But indeed, I know you can guarantee us within broadcast our power supply this morning. But just on the lighter note here, from the Abuja end, we'll be looking at some discourse around the StarTimes satellite service, as well as the issues surrounding the alleged coup plotter. Yesterday we saw their wives crying and weeping when they were brought to the Federal High Court in the Federal Capital Territory here in Abuja, and we'll be explaining that issue of the alleged coup plotters and all matters surrounding it. And like someone raised, the wives were all crying yesterday. If it is true that they actually plotted the coup, those women are the ones that would likely emerge as first ladies of various states if their husband were appointed as sole administrators or military administrators, the one they call Milan. We'll look at that here on the platform and several other discussions as they unfold, Harry.
Funny enough, that's one of the issues we are also going to be examining, if time permits, right here in our Benin studio. Now, talking about the planned exit, or should I say the, he called it a resignation of the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu. He's set to resign from his position in the coming days, following a high-level meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Now, the development was confirmed in a statement issued by the Minister's Special Advisor on Strategic Communications and Media Relations, Tunji Bolaji, after the closed-door meeting, which was held on Tuesday. Now, I would like you to respond to this, Patricia. Some persons have been saying, well, this has to do with his political ambition. I understand he's planning to run for governor in his state. And others are saying, well, the president is tired of him and wants to get rid of him. Now, what's your take?
Well, Harry, he actually came out to say he was resigning because he wants to run for governorship in Oyo State, in his state. That's what he said. But some persons in Nigeria are saying, you left us in darkness and you're resigning. I mean, it wasn't the right time for you to resign, because across the country, there's been no power. There's no, the true way is in darkness. I want to use my house as point of contact in this discussion. For the past 1 week, I have not had electricity from the power section. I've been powering my house myself, and then you just wake up one day to say you're resigning. And this is your Nigerians that in 2 weeks you were going to fix the lights. I mean, the light issues will become past tense. And between the darkness and the 2 weeks, you decided to resign to go run for your for governorship in your state. Well, that's it to us as the public. But from the presidency, I think rumors have it that the president was so tired of him with all his excuses from not helping in the power issues. So I guess, well, I can't place my hand neither here nor there. But the one I know it's for sure came out to say he was resigning to go run for governorship in his state or your state.
All right, Iharo. The minister is planning to leave at a time when Nigerians are literally struggling to survive.
Most times the president, the presidency can be a little bit dangling here, but like the press statement that was issued 24 hours after the sack of the Minister of Finance and his housing counterpart, now debunking that they were not sacked, they resigned. I asked a question yesterday at the State House. How come it took 24 hours to tell us that these men were not sacked? They were fired for lack of performance. The economy is not doing very well. The housing sector is also not doing very well. And occasioned by the economy not doing very well, Wale Edu was sacked. And occasioned by the fact that the housing deficit in the country is increasing, maybe the president asked himself, why will I keep a minister of housing when indeed the homelessness appears to be on the increase? And for Adelabu, the power minister, it was long overdue. The last time President Bola Tinubu reshuffled his cabinet or sacked some persons, 3 days before that sack, we had national grid collapsing twice in 3 days. And when the sack came, Adelabu escaped. And many asked questions, why sack all these smaller ministers and leave the one that ought to be thrown away for long? Everyone was certain that Adelabu was due to go. Last 2 weeks, when the rumor came out, when the report came out, he denied that no, he wants to really fix the power sector. He is not going anywhere, he's determined. But it got to a point that, hey guy, they told him, hey, you are fired. And whenever they say you are fired, they come and quickly appeal, please, allow me to write my letter. That's what happened to the former IGP Egbetokun. The news broke that he was sacked. We all reported that he was sacked. We were told that he was sacked. Only for, in the evening, for us to see a statement in the evening that he has resigned, even when some person had confirmed that he had been fired. And it's a common trend these days. Once they sack you, you quickly go on your knees and beg, say, please, just give me the honor and tell the world that I resign. And they will not come and say, okay, you resign. The president wish you well in your future endeavor. Which endeavor? When there is darkness, look at what Patricia raised. 1 week, no power supply. The same thing for me. The same thing for Harry Aigboje. The same thing for our cameramen behind and those behind the console in the master control room. The same thing for ITV that spends so much on diesel and spends so much on solar installations. And here you have a power minister who is saying he wants to go and control the ancient city of Ibadan, run and control your state. You're asking the question, what are you going to do there? You failed here woefully. No power at all. Then you want to go to Oyo and give them what they call in the scripture outer darkness. We watch and see if those in Oyo will allow him to come. Because for us who live here and do not see power, the question is, what will Adelabu be giving? What will you even tell them when you are going to campaign? Your credential is darkness, nothing. Then you will stand before them and tell them, maybe like what Lia Limoke said, you say it is sabotage. Who don't want this country to work?
Situation in the country. Now let's take a look at the issue that you are going to be focusing on right there in Abuja, Iharo. The arraignment of 6 suspects over allegations of plotting a coup to oust President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, I understand that one of the persons that have been arraigned is a former governor of Bayelsa State, Timi Praise Silva. Now, what do you make of that?
I think Timi Silva was arraigned in absentia. He wasn't there, and we know for sure that somehow he may not be coming. From
why do you think he may not be coming?
When President Muhammadu Buhari came in, she had to just stay put in the United Kingdom, although something's led to something, and today she's facing charges there. We hope that the judgment will be coming up this weekend or within next week or two. That is on the one side. But I don't see Timi Silva coming forward. His name has been mentioned I know some persons around him were picked. His houses were ransacked here in Abuja. But the cardinal thing is the information at our disposal appears to be sketchy, with the family crying that this man did not do that, with the federal government saying, okay, there was a coup. We know for sure that the defense minister, who was the former defense chief, Christopher Musa, had granted a media interview where he said this guy actually plotted coup. To what extent was the coup plotted? Some were also asking questions, how come that those who plotted the coup were largely working in the office of the National Security Advisor, and the NSA himself appeared not to be asked any question or whatever happened around. I think it's something that is unfolding. Some media houses, according to what the family of the Akupists allege, we are being sponsored to carry stories, paid to carry stories which they term classified, but nothing classified about it, where some sources, according to them, in government cycle, give them report to write to tarnish the image of their beloved father, children, son, and loved ones. But it was a drama that played out yesterday. We saw widows crying, we saw family, well, not widows, wives crying, family members crying, hugging their loved ones and all of that. They've been able to see them after months of incarceration. It's something that will follow. ITV will be staying put on it, will follow it through the process to the end. It's a civil court, not a military court martial here. So it will be something that would likely, very likely, outlive, even if Tinubu got a second tenure, it may outlive the president's second tenure, except they granted speedy trial. And even in speedy trial, people may likely go to the appeal court, to the first appellate court, which is the appeal court, and the last appellate court, which is the Supreme Court. But I know it's something that will be followed for a very long period of time. But for now, politicians yesterday at the National Assembly, we are busy defecting. And Harry and Patricia, it was like a salad yesterday. Some we are going to the ADC, some we are going to the APC. They are just mixing it up like the salad with a nice political salad cream.
A salad indeed. Of course, and like he also said, we seem to have a very long way to go as far as this particular arraignment issue is concerned. Now, let me get your reaction to this, Patricia.
Well, Harry, I really don't have much to say, because for the coup plotting, it's, should I say, a private information, because I really don't have the information at hand. We just heard it's allegedly. And as a military man's daughter, I know that coup plotting is a very serious matter. And I have been trained that you don't talk about what you don't know. So I really don't know how, if there was actually a coup plot, or it was just an information that, you know, lead to the presidency. Probably they were planning it and never had it done. I really can't say any of this. So like Ikhorat has said, we will be looking at the unfolding incident as it comes up every other day. We hope the trial comes soon.
Yes, we hope the trial actually sees the light of day. And I want to say a big thank you to Patricia Gabriels and, of course, Ikhorat in our Lagos and Abuja studios. Well, it's still TMI on Independent Television. We have to go on a short break. When we return, it will be time to take a look at some of the stories making the rounds on our national dailies. Please stay tuned. Back, it's still This Morning on ITV, and it's time to take a look at some of the stories making the rounds on our national dailies. Now, let's take a look at the Leadership newspaper. And on the Leadership newspaper, the screamer here says, court fixes April 27th for trial as 6 alleged coup plotters deny charges. Court fixes April 27th for trial as 6 alleged coup plotters deny charges. Now, that's a serious one, just like we were examining a moment ago before we went on that break. And that can be found on page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. And right under it, judge remands suspects in DSS custody. Now this is getting really serious. Judge remands suspects in DSS custody. And right above the masthead, Nigeria's ambassador designate to Algeria, Lele, dies at 50. Nigeria's ambassador designate to Algeria, Lele, dies at 50. Now that's on a rather tragic note, and it can be found on page 7 of the Leadership newspaper. Now, still on the Leadership newspaper, amid power crisis, Adelabu resigns, eyes Oyo governorship. Amid power crisis, Adelabu resigns, eyes Oyo governorship, and that's on page 23 of the Leadership newspaper. And still on the leadership newspaper, Edun Dangiwa resigned, not sacked. And that's coming from the presidency. Okay, I guess that's clearing the air because there have been controversies about whether they actually resigned or they were sacked. So the presidency is saying here that they didn't resign, they were sacked. And that can be found on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. And right under it, Adamawa Guba, Senator Iya declares no retreat, no surrender in APC primary. Senator Iya declares no retreat, no surrender in APC primary. And that can be found on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. 2027, Amopitan urges prayers for Nigeria's stability. 2027, Amopitan urges prayers for Nigeria's stability. And that's on page 22 of the leadership newspaper. And then finally on the leadership newspaper this morning, Angwa Rukuba killings. Plateau presses charges against 5 suspects. Angwa Rukuba killings. Plateau presses charges against 5 suspects. Now that's a good one, and we're hoping that justice is served at the end of the day. Now that's it on the leadership newspaper. Let's now turn our attention to the Daily Independent. Okay, on the Daily Independent, the major headline here says, Atiku raises the alarm over ambiguities in Electoral Act. Atiku raises the alarm over ambiguities in Electoral Act. And then right under that, demands amendment to safeguard sanctity of ballot. Demands amendment to safeguard sanctity of ballot. Now the question is this from a genuine place of concern or from a personal standpoint? Well, I guess that's for Nigerians to figure out. Okay, right above the masthead, Supreme Court reserves ruling in ADC leadership, PDP convention suits. Supreme Court reserves ruling in ADC leadership, PDP convention suits. And still on the Daily Independent, security situation improving, Boko Haram weakened. And that's credited to the federal government. Security situation improving, Boko Haram weakened. Well, that sounds like some good news, but we hope it's true, because isn't this what Nigerians have been yearning for? Security situation improving, Boko Haram weakened. That's coming from the federal government. And then still on the Daily Independent, Tinubu pledges to protect workers from economic ruin. Tinubu pledges to protect workers from economic ruin, and that's still on the Daily Independent newspaper. Right on that, restates commitment to worker safety and retirement dignity. Restates commitment to worker safety and retirement dignity. Okay, let's take a look at some other headlines still on the Daily Independent newspaper. Now on page 7, there is this headline that says, airlines demand total debt waiver as aviation fuel surges 300%. Airlines demand total debt waiver as aviation fuel surges 300%. That's a serious one. And then still on page 7, Nigeria's ambassador designate to Algeria dies in Turkey. Nigeria's ambassador designate to Algeria dies in Turkey. And then suspected coup plotters arraigned, remanded in DSS custody on page 29 of the Daily Independent newspaper. And then finally on the Daily Independent newspaper this morning, reps urge action to stabilize food prices and support farmers. Reps urge action to stabilize food prices and support farmers. And that's on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Now let's turn our attention to the Daily Trust. Now on Daily Trust this morning, 72-hour deadline. Borno families fear for 416 captives. 72-hour deadline. Borno families fear for 416 captives. Okay, now right above that headline, alleged coup plot. FG arraigned suspects. Trial begins Monday. Alleged coup plot. FG arraigned suspects. Trial begins Monday. And then we understand that the former governor of Bayelsa State, Timipre Silva, was conspicuously absent during the trial yesterday. Okay, now still right above the masthead, COVID-10, suspected cases identified in Cross River. COVID, 10 suspected cases identified in Cross River. Well, could we call this the return of COVID? Just when we thought that was done and dusted, here we are again, still talking about COVID. 10 suspected cases identified in Cross Rivers. Well, I guess that's a warning for everyone to be very conscious of their hygiene, okay? Ensure you continue to practice a safe distance, okay? Social distancing is still very, very important. Try to ensure that you protect your space. I guess that's what we were told back then when it was surging really seriously. And then still on the Daily Trust newspaper, Gbenga Hashim meets Falana, vows resistance to one-party agenda in Nigeria. Gbenga Hashim meets Falana, vows resistance to one-party agenda in Nigeria. And then under that, ambassador designates Lele dies at 50. And then on page 27 rather, Minister of Power Adelabu resigns. Minister of Power Adelabu resigns. And finally, on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, 19 people die in Edo Taraba road crashes. That's on the rather tragic note. We hope that things get better because people are getting scared of flying roads daily. You know, nowadays people even cancel road trips because of, not just because of accidents, but because of insecurity. Okay, so how can you be traveling and your heart is literally in your mouth? All right, let's now focus on the Guardian newspaper, and the screamer right here on the Guardian newspaper says, debate over security strategy as Senate demands rescue of 416 captives. Debate over security strategy as Senate demands rescue of 416 captives. And that's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And then right above the masthead, PDP ADC kick as Supreme Court reserves judgment in leadership tussles. PDP ADC kick as Supreme Court reserves judgment in leadership tussles. And that's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And then still on the Guardian newspaper, 6 suspected coup plotters plead not guilty to federal government's 13 charges. Trial begins April 27th. 6 suspected coup plotters plead not guilty to federal government's 13 charges. Trial begins April 27th. And that's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And still on the Guardian newspaper, INEC visits Labour Party Secretariat, verifies leadership documents. INEC visits LP Secretariat, verifies leadership documents, and that's on page 3 on the Guardian newspaper. Let's now take a look at some other headlines, and this one says, court ruling paves way for stricter consumer protection banking sector, and that can be found on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria records 4,200 weekly cyber attacks amid digital economic growth. Nigeria records 4,200 weekly cyber attacks amid digital economic growth, and that's on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And then finally on the Guardian this morning, Ndokwa protesters blockade Delta Government House over decades-long blackout. Ndokwa protesters blockade Delta Government House over decades-long blackout. Still talking blackout, and that can be found on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. Okay, I guess that's it on the newspaper review segment of TMI this morning. I want to say a big thank you to you. Now we have to go on this very important break. Now, when we return, it will be time for our very first conversation for the day. Please stay tuned. Right, welcome back. It's still This Morning on ITV, and time now to take a look at the exit, or should I say the purported resignation of the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, and of course the Minister of Finance and Housing. Now, there have been lots of talking points surrounding this. Some persons are saying, well, this is the wrong time for him to resign. And some persons are even saying that he's not actually resigning, that there's more to the so-called resignation than meets the eye. Now, to join me in making sense of this is a social impact commentator and a public affairs analyst who goes by the name of Favor Sadzi. Welcome on board, bro.
Good morning again.
Good morning. It's good to see you. All right. What do you make of this? Let's begin to examine and unravel the purported resignation of the Minister of Power and, of course, his finance and housing counterparts. What do you think this purports for the polity?
I think, the question is, what are his credentials? I heard he's resigning to go and contest.
Yes, and some people are saying at a time when Nigeria is literally struggling with incessant power outage, that this is not the right time for him to resign.
I think this is the right time.
You think so?
I think this is the right time because what's his role so far, other than increasing debt and expense for residents and business owners? You know, if you look at the nature of power supply now, it has gone way lower than normal. I mean, this is the worst of all we've seen in a long time. I mean, judging by what I've seen, and there's no hope that it's going to even get better. How do you explain you were supposed to have not less than 20 hours power supply for the Band A sector, and you are having about 8 hours, and sometimes it crashes and there's no explanation. And there was a time last month when we even got a circular that there was going to be a 1 month power outage due to maintenance. And when this was happening, I haven't heard that at some point there was going to be protests here and there, but at the end of the day, what has changed? So his exit, I think for me, it's a great one. He should go and relax. But I don't know what he's going to be giving to the Oyo people. I don't know what his campaign mantra is going to be. If he's going to translate the darkness he has given Nigeria to Oyo, so be it for them. They'll be glad. But so far so good. Even if they call themselves the ancient city or whatever it's called, they should not do it in darkness.
They should not do it in darkness. Now, what's the implication of this to the power sector? Because it seems to be getting worse by the day. I don't know about you, but in my own neighborhood, it's been crazy. You know, there's been no hope, you know, for power. Now, my question is, the fact that he's leaving now, isn't it going to, you know, tell negatively on the, you know, the power sector? Because the time frame that it will take to, you know, appoint someone else, you know, to take over from him, don't you think that's going to affect, you know, the system?
I think at the stage that we are now, we're supposed to run institutions that are independent of the individuals.
The individuals, okay.
So when we run systems that are not independent of the individuals, it creates this lacuna, which is the possible fears you have right now. But when there are tested and trusted structures, it's just going to be an easy transition. But irrespective of that, whoever is coming is still going to meet the same facility, still going to meet the same organization. So it's more, there's more to just the transition process. I think they need to go back and rework the system, because power generation is not done by individuals with their bare hands. There are facilities for those. So not until those facilities are given due attention to run the quest that they have been assigned to, we will still keep recycling the same problem year in, year. So it's not a matter of who is coming, it's not a matter of how long it's going to take. It's a matter of what the institution and the integrity is.
Okay, do you think the problem is with the institution or with the willpower to actually effect a positive change in the power sector?
You may not be wrong if you say it's the willpower. Yes, of course. I mean, there's hardly a state, apart from the hearsays we hear about Abia State, there's hardly a state that can tell you we have up to 20 hours power supply. So it's a general problem. So because it's a general problem, it takes a lot of political willingness to make this happen. Sometimes I get to ask myself, is it that the power generators, the DISCOs and the GENCOs somehow are in charge of supplying power banks? Are they the importers? Or because the way you see everybody going about with power banks now, in fact, it has even grown from power banks to power tanks. So we are doing so much to provide palliatives, but not solving the real problem.
Okay, now there is a school of thoughts, and I dare to call it a conspiracy theory, that there are some powers that be in the system that could pass as power brokers that do not want the power sector to work just because they are benefiting from the system. What do you make of it?
Just like you said, conspiracy theories. There's no smoke without fire. There's every possibility. I mean, this is capitalism. So every capitalist will do everything to have that economical advantage. Yeah. So it's not out of place. But that is where the institution of the government come in to protect the citizens from people like that. So if the government institutions are supposed to protect consumer rights and all of this are not doing their jobs, what you get is this. So every entrepreneur, every capitalist will take advantage. And if they have friends who are powerful, they will take the advantage of that power to make sure they make more money. So it's not out of place.
Okay, let's extend the conversation to the finance and housing counterparts. Okay, now there is a, should I say, a speculation that they were sacked, but they have come out yesterday to say, well, we weren't sacked, we resigned. But of course, the federal government has come to clear the air, you know, saying that they were actually sacked. Now, why the should I say?
Nigeria is a case of the more you look, the less you see. The more you try to explain the happenings, the more you get more confused. It's just some individuals trying to protect their ego and probably bow with honor, but it's pretty too late. So they can't have the soft landing that they are proposing. It has already dented their political image and their resume. So
do you think so?
But the
in
thing
a country where it seems like you know, your reputation doesn't really quite count when it comes to.
I was coming there. Like I said earlier, the more you look, the less you see. We've seen people who have been celebrated from coming out of jail. I mean, a state parade was made in honor of their return. This is Nigeria. So in the long run, it really doesn't matter what has happened to them. You can still see them coming to run for offices tomorrow, and people will still gather behind them and support them, as far as they have the money to throw around and a few rice to share.
Rice. Now, some people have called this a government of rice. I mean, the way to get your way or to have your way is just give rice.
And some few tin tomato paste.
Okay, now, what do you think is being done in the Western world or in working societies that is lacking in Nigeria that you think is actually telling on the power sector?
One thing I think, and I'm very sure that have been done over time, is there are people who have sacrificed. People have sacrificed. We are not ready to make such sacrifices. Just like it's been said, how many of these importers of these palliatives are ready to say, okay, let us just allow this thing work. Maybe it will be for the better. They are not willing. So as far as they are not ready to sacrifice those instant gratification for their whatever, we'll be here. I don't have the power to make the policies that would influence a lot. You don't have the power to make. We can only speak and talk about it. But if nothing is done, we'll still remain where we are. And like I always say around when I come around, we are too hungry to make decisions. And a hungry man is tired. So whatever you give to him, he will feed you. Like, okay, commonly said, he who pays the piper, takes the tune.
Yeah.
We don't pay the pipers. So whatever music or tune we hear, we have to dance.
Okay, a quick correction. Actually, the presidency said that they resigned and not that they were sacked. They were the ones that claimed that they were sacked. Now, I would like to ask, what do you think, because some persons have actually been clamoring for the need to give the private sector a chance, you know, to have a say or to help salvage the situation in the power sector. Do you think that makes sense?
It would make a lot of sense. I mean, it will bring in competition, it will bring accountability, it will bring a lot of development, because look at the telecommunications sector. You see how the competition brought a whole lot. I mean, at some point you were paying by minute or so.
Yeah.
And before you know, there was a particular telecommunication brand that came and said, no, let's pay as you go. And before you know it, there was data. Before you know, a lot of all of this, you can even as low as subscribe to a small WhatsApp plan. This happened because there is room for competition. But when there is no competition, it's monopoly kills. It destroys a whole lot. So we are left at the mercy of whoever is in charge.
Okay, some people have actually attributed the purported resignation of the three ministers to some sort of political undertone. Do you see that?
There's hardly anything in Nigeria that is not politically motivated. Hardly. So time will tell what all of this is about. But for me, I know it's definitely politically motivated. It's just a matter of time. We'll see the facts. It will be bare before us.
Okay, well, it's still This Morning on ITV, and we're taking a look at the purported resignation of the Minister of Power, Finance and Housing. We shall be going on another break. When we return, it will be time to wrap things up on this segment of the show. Please stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It's still This Morning on ITV, TMI, reaching you live from our Benin studio. And I still have Favor Sadzi right here, a social impact commentator and the public affairs analyst. Now, Favor, you made mention of the involvement of the private sector. Do you think that will, in the long run, impact positively? Because you talked about competition, which I believe the system actually needs. But in the long run, don't you think that's going to erode the influence of the federal government?
Okay, so far so good. What are the influence, or what are the advantages of the influence of the federal government? So if you look at that critically, then you can compare and contrast what we have to lose and what we have to gain. We don't have anything to lose. I mean, putting a large number of people to concern. It's a case of, like I said, we've already seen a system that it has worked. So it's just a case of replicating what has worked in this sector to another sector that is not working. It has not failed us in telecommunications. So why would it fail us now in power generation or supply? Let's test and see what happens, and then we'll know where to go from there. But so far so good. The pros outlives the cons.
The pros outlives the cons. Now, the Minister of Power is someone that has a political ambition. Is that supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing? Because you just said that if he uses this same criterion or this same standard with which he's running the power sector, if he applies it to his political ambition or his governance, if he eventually gets elected as the governor of for your state, that it might not augur well. Now, what can you throw more light on that?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing because no employer of labor in this age and time would look at your credentials, your resume, and with so much holes or whatever inconsistency and still employ you. Nobody.
The Constitution actually allows him to run for office.
Just the same way every human, every citizen has the right to apply for a job. But it is the responsibility of the employer or the HRO to either accept or decline. So, you know, like it is always said, we'll get back to you. Or your people should be ready to tell him we'll get back to you. He's not fit for the job. He doesn't have any credentials so far.
But who knows? He just might be able to deliver as governor. The fact that he couldn't deliver as the Minister of Power doesn't mean he doesn't have the
role
capacity.
of a governor is not different from the role that he's just leaving or going away from. What you do is manage resources. There was never a point where he took the wires and was joining them together.
Yeah.
All he needed to do was manage resources, the infrastructure and the personnel. That is the same thing he's coming to Oyo to do, manage resources. So the role has not changed. It's just the environment or the application that is going to change. He has not been able to do that there. So how would he now assure us that he can also do that here? So they say to whom much is given, much is tested. So at this point, he has been tested with so much, and the result is a big failure. So why are we sure? No, why are we sure? I am sure the story is not going to be what? Different.
Now, what you are implying is that he lacks the administrative
capacity
to deliver.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now, what do you think is the way forward now? Because in all of this, his resignation seems imminent. There's nothing that can be done about it because he seems bent on, resigning as Minister of Power to pursue his political ambition. Do you think this is going to impact on the short term in the power sector?
Like I said, I feel those and the powers that be should just have pity on the citizens. That is all I can say now. They should just pity us, the citizens, because if they don't pity us, no matter whoever is coming there may be worse. We've seen a situation where a past president was telling us that if I go, you will miss me. We all thought he was joking, and we see what we have gotten so far. So let it not be a case of we'll not be missing this man that is resigning and say, oh, we wish he was there. I mean, you understand what I mean? So they should just pity us. I can't say more than that, because even if you tell them to do the right thing, they are not ready to do the right thing. If you tell them make the right change, they are not ready to make it. Has always been a case of square peg in round hole. But if they are ready to pity us, even with a square peg in round hole, we will still get something substantial and get a value for our money.
What would you say to Nigerians as the minister is planning to resign now, what should Nigerians expect from this resignation?
There's nothing I'm expecting. No. Speaking on behalf of a vast majority of people, the same man that told us that as a minister of power, he has no power to execute. So he has already given up on his responsibility. So I cannot put any trust on him or whatever. We just want to be hopeful like we've always done and pray and believe that something will turn around for our good. But the thing is, we on our own are not ready, because if you look at the lineup of people ready to take position after him, what are still the credentials of these people? That's the big question. So it's not a case of filling up the position that is going to be empty, but what are these persons going to bring to the table? That's the question. So if you bring someone that is ready to work, irrespective of the conditions, and as far as his responsibility or his result is based on accountability, something might come up. As much as there are accidents on this highway that we pass through, say people still travel, right? True. Against all odds. That is the kind of system we need people to put in mind. Where against all odds, we still want to do what needs to be done. Because if you don't move in the highway as a driver, your family is not going to eat. That's what we should be looking at. People who are accountable and responsible enough to do the needful.
All right, thank you very much, Favor Sadzi, a public affairs analyst and a social impact commentator, for your very brilliant analysis. And I'm hoping that the next time I call upon you, you will oblige me.
Always.
All right, it's This Morning on ITV, reaching you live from our Benin studio. We have to go on another break, and when we return, it will be time for our next conversation, which has to do with the arraignment of the former governor of Bayelsa State, on charges of, a coup plot, along with 5 other persons. Please stay tuned. Still TMI on independent television. Now, the federal government has arraigned 6 suspects over allegations of plotting a coup to oust President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the suspects were arraigned on Wednesday on a 13-count charge bordering on alleged terrorism. They all pleaded not guilty to the charges. Now, Nigeria charges 6 people, of course. One of the people that were charged is a former governor of Bayelsa State, who was conspicuously absent yesterday. And the allegations of a plan to overthrow President Bola Ahmed Tinubu first surfaced in October 2025, when the government abruptly cancelled Independence Day parade. Now, 6 people in Nigeria, including a retired Major General and a 7th police inspector, have been charged with treason for attempting to overthrow the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I have joining me right now a political analyst and a legal practitioner, Barrister Awo Osage. Welcome on board, sir. Good morning.
It's a pleasure having me. Thank you, and hello, folks out there.
All right, sir. Now, this is a very serious allegation. All right. Now, how grave is this charge? How grave is this allegation against the backdrop of the law?
Thank you very much. Well, the law is the law, and it's what it is. So it's not about what anyone says. It's about what happened in court. Many a times we hear of allegations back and forth. Charges are preferred to or against whoever they so wish, as deemed fit by the enforcement agencies and or whatnot. So, but the reality is that issues begin to unfold in courts. We could say this happened, that happened. This is what we found out in the course of investigation. And arraignment is, or they are what we call prima facie, that is a clear-cut evidence linking that even makes it a criminal offense in itself, and for them to be culpable and they are arraigned, as it were. But again, that's still within the what do you call them? The enforcement agents and the investigating team, like you said, DSS9, their custody and all whatnot. So, but again, when you say someone has committed an offense, and then I don't think it's a media thing. It's only in Nigeria we hear so much of media back and forth, here and there, talking about it. You know how grievous it means to us, the president of a country. It's not what should be noisy. It should be done more. I think we should imbibe a culture of operating more, like they said, there's a secret service like that. It should be more internalized. And again, I discovered that we are arraigning people. One of them is not available. What's happening? So the big question is, what are they doing about that? So before you come out to the glare of public, you should have concluded and ensuring these persons are in custody. You don't tell me you don't have a capacity to bring whoever you want to bring. So these are some questions. It's looking political to me, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but the government have the capacity to ensure that whoever is to be arraigned is physically present. So wherever it is, they have not told us anything about it. They said it's conspicuously absent.
Yeah.
Why will it be absent in a grievous and heinous crime of such
as this?
So that's the issue we should be looking at. Again, in court, the court will not just, it's not, if you have seen me, we must understand that the onus of evidence to be proven beyond doubt, it lies in the prosecution.
Okay.
You have accused me of wanting to oust the president from office. Okay, that's one. Then you are to tell court how did that pan out? How did I put it together? Is it because we had some talk? You know.
So there has to be a strong evidence.
Obviously, it's beyond. You didn't get that word. He said beyond all reasonable doubts. Now, in other words, if you have over 95% of indication that something like that, and the court is not absolutely convinced, it will be thrown away. So, but again, I feel Nigeria has gone beyond that. We should have preventive crime other than waiting all the way. Okay, we'll say that it was prevented. We blow up a lot of things that are not. I see it as a distractive mechanism to the general public, because I don't see anything there. That should be handled. You know, by the way, it shouldn't be what everybody is talking about. I don't even feel proud.
Don't you think the general public deserves to know the fate of someone as highly placed as a former governor of Bayelsa State?
Well, yes, they should know. But what I'm saying, he has not been convicted yet. Why can't investigation go quietly and the court process go on?
Okay, so you think
it should be played down. Because there are a lot of other issues that Nigerians should be talking about. We're talking of insecurity. How about those? We're talking about the president. In as much I love the president, everybody knows that I love the president. But again, the president is one person. He's a Nigerian. We're talking of several Nigerians being killed back and forth on the road. Nobody's talking about them like this. You know, we don't say, well, we say that's the number one citizen. I agree with you. But the other citizens, are they not supposed to be protected? So it's the duty of this enforcement agent to swing into action and ensuring that Nigeria is protected. And before it gets to the president, we should be able to have a workaround. What I'm saying in essence, I'm not saying what they are doing is wrong.
Okay.
I'm trying to say, you see, the attention and the paparazzi, the here and there talk about it, it's making it uninteresting, and it's making it look like a comic or something. That's how it looks sounding like. We've had it before. I was out in the country, and then I heard, oh, look at what happened, and I was wondering, and we are still talking about it. You know, politics, I've been here for so long, so I know how politics runs. Most of the time, it's always a political issue. Okay, we want you to come, and then when you repent in the morning, in the evening, we can serve you Holy Communion in church. So I think that's basically what it's looking like to me. Okay. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying, don't get me, I say to me.
To you, yeah.
To me, the way I'm saying it, because I've been here for so long. I know some persons that were tried. I know Sambo Dasuki and all of those charges here and there. You know, 2.1 billion, you know, money voted for security.
Nothing came out of it.
Nothing came out of it, but the man was kept back for 4 years. Probably look at the El-Rufai saga now. El-Rufai is there. I'm not a fan of El-Rufai, but I believe in the principle of law. If the law has said, let him go home, let him go home. Why letting him out and then you are picking him again? Then it's not setting a good precedent for us to see, and it's not making it look like the court is working. And that gets me a little bit disturbed.
All right, now, reports have it that some of the suspects have been remanded in the DSS custody. Now, what do you think is the fate of those suspects?
Yes, they have been remanded. Obviously, bails will be declined because a very serious offense. Their fate is they will wait for their trial. If it happened this year, God be the glory. If it doesn't, and if they are free, they should still keep faith alive. Olusegun Obasanjo, one-time president, who was also alleged to have attempted to also the president, the then head of state, and he was in prison and he was remanded. So it's the normal thing. A grievous offense like this, nobody should come. But I know what people will say now. They are right. The presumption of innocence as enshrined in the Constitution. No. There are exceptions to every rule. Okay. Somebody who attempts to kill the president, that is clear. Not even the president, that is evident. That's, look, an attempt to murder someone. And they are serious. I don't know what they have because that's intelligent. Now, there are serious allegations. That person obviously will not be granted bail. You cannot be allowed to go. He said, but that's not the Constitution. The Constitution also, your freedom. You know, I know that presumption is what they are going to be looking at. If they grant you bail, will you be able to meet the bail condition? When they give you, you understand, not about the money. They may ask some very, you know what happened to Abaribe senator over the Nnamdi Kanu.
Some critical question.
You know what I'm talking about. So these are issues. So you can't meet, or it's not that they won't grant you bail. If we go to the agency, they will always put your bail out and see, look at the condition for your bail. They can't meet up. They can't meet that bail condition. That's the truth. So they have to remain there. Just keep hope alive. If they are free, God helping them, they get out of it in no time.
All right. Now, what legal standards must be met to prove involvement in a coup plot? Well, from a legal standpoint.
Yes. You see, like I mentioned, you don't just say maybe I was in the house of a coup plotter, so to say, and then I had engaged talk with them. You know, we had some time. That doesn't make you culpable. That doesn't make me. I could be there. It's a friend. We could be friends with criminals. I could have been killed when I was in university. I was sitting down with friends. We were having a good time in the hostel. And I just had an urging to leave. It was late in the night. My then SCG president, Donald Kogbe, was in his room, and he said I should come and sleep in his room. I told him, I'm going home. I want to go home. And then it was just like that. I was with them. We were sitting together. He was in. He said I should come. I shouldn't go home. I should come to his room. I said, no, I'm not coming to your room. I'm going home. So I left. Barely 15, 20 minutes, the guys we were sitting with, they were all killed. I did nothing. A young man who came back from youth corps to see some of his friends was killed that night too. So the point I'm making is, why was I exonerated? Okay, if maybe, will you say I did something? They would have also killed me if I was seated there. So that didn't make me, so I didn't commit any offense.
Okay.
So that I found myself in the house, I think we should, in the midst of those that have committed offense. I think that's where we are getting it all wrong. We should advance. I'll share a story with you now. I lost my wallet in China, and then I slept off. That was carelessness on my part. I slept off. I had some hundreds of dollars in there, you know. I just slept off. But when I realized I'd gotten back to my hotel room, I didn't have my wallet. My identities, everything, valid the documents were in the wallet. So I was confused. I didn't know what to do. But they just calm me down, relax. There's no problem. You can always get it back. I say, how? How will I get it back? And they said I should go back to the shop. I went to the optical shop. I went to get a glass then. Then from there, I went to surveillance department. And they got everything. I just saw myself coming out. And it was easy. They zoomed everything for me, saw me sleeping off, dozing off inside the car. And they saw how I moved the wallet because I was discomforted. You know, when you're relaxed, you're discomforted. I pulled the wallet and I turned to the side. And then I slept off. That's how I got off the taxi. And then the woman, the Chinese woman that picked it up, how she picked it and gave it to the husband gave it back to her, and she hands it over to the driver. So everything was picked. So we should grow beyond this back and forth. I suspect you, I'm not suspecting you. Scientific evidence should be more.
Like Nigeria.
No, just forget. I thought I was here, and that's the truth. I thought, and for some time now, I think I've been a little bit careless. I'm regaining consciousness back until I get out of here again by God's grace. You know, I think that is the way to go. What I'm trying to say in essence, I'm not trying to say that this thing is not rocket science. It's not rocket science. Simple technology can curb and track criminal involvement in crime. How do we, okay, you said somebody, I asked a simple question. Where is Teme Silva? Can't we reach him? Oh, it's not in the country. Okay, where is he? So you don't tell me you don't know. You cannot, because it's a disservice to others, injustice to others. You said he's one of them. Bring him. So he's looking somehow. Maybe he knows something. He wants to say something. Politics have always turned out different way. We remember a situation of somebody being accused, a deputy governor, being accused when the murder of Bola Ige. You remember that time? And what happened afterwards? From where he was all that hue and cry, he won election. He was winning a senatorial seat.
Amidst the controversy.
Amidst the controversy. We also in Rivers State, we saw a man who is governor today was in the creek. They were looking for him. The enforcement agents were looking for him. But he won election from the creek and went to government house for immunity. So these are some of the things we are talking about. Has he answered to those things? No. But we are saying, well, they are prosecuting him. I don't do politics. I do politics with principle. I don't just get involved here and there because I belong to this political house. I have so much regard for my folks, my Nigerian leaders and all whatnot. But the point is, there are certain things you do. When you read about them or your children read about them tomorrow, it will not be good. How can a man who came out from the creek be saying he's a just man? Have you answered? I love what Ayodele Fayose did. He will say, yes, I'm here. He came out, clear me, prosecute me, I'm here. That's how a leader should do. You're an elderly man. Face your face whatever it is. Then you are coming from the creek now, then you are now doing battle with governor and all of those things. Anyway, that's not the talk. The question is simple. The way to go, or how around we look at it, is simple. Now look at criminals or supposed alleged persons. Where are you? How are you linked to it? Do you have conversation? Are there confessional statements made? Although some persons could confess you when you didn't do anything.
Just to get you implicated.
Just to get you implicated. Yes, it happened. Then it is the duty of the investigating team to check through, to look at time.
To link it up, yeah.
Link it up, the timing. Where were you at so time? What were you doing? You walk into a restaurant to buy something to eat or get yourself refreshed, and then somebody said you came for a meeting. Maybe you where? You see why surveillance is important. Yeah. What was your mission in that house that day? These are questions that should be asked. Not that I was there.
But do you think our surveillance system is doing enough in this regard?
It's not. There's none. There's none. I'm telling you. It's just I think I'm an expert. I think I know. And look at your eyes. You know, most of the time when they're checking at the checkpoint and they look at your eyes, they look at you. Oh, park. You know, I drive most driving to Lagos a few days ago, like a week or thereabout ago. I was going to Lekki. I just drove. I was driving. So I got to Ondo, you know, because I'm not a familiar face on that road. Yeah. He looked at me. Say, park. Then I parked. He said, search this man. The guy came and he said, he's a lawyer. He said, you sure? Search him. I said, come and search. See my particulars. The man said, please enter your car. I said, no, let him search. Open my boot. Let me bring my spare tire and turn it around so that he can check. It's not about you, what you are looking at. You see, criminals don't have to wear, they can wear suits like me. You know, they could. Yeah. Somebody could wear dreadlocks and it's not a criminal. I don't want to mention name, our dear friend, his elder brother, who is an enforcement, works with the FBI, came into Nigeria with dreadlocks. And he was harassed and they were taking him as a Yahoo boy. And he was watching them. When he got to their station, it was there, they were now apologizing. Why are you behaving like this? I may have a different orientation. You have people wear tattoos all around. Nigeria is not a Christian country or a Muslim country. I don't know what. It was a secular country. My orientation, my perception about life may be different from yours. So I was in China, a little boy, a 17-year-old boy offered me a cigarette to smoke. In Benin, you slap him. It doesn't work that way. So people, you should understand that we are not, you know, in a religious environment where you use Quran and Bible. In as much as I'm a cleric, I'm a pastor, I know what the law says. So we shouldn't do this, and we should play by the rules. So these are some of the reasons. When you are accusing someone, do you have enough evidence to prosecute him?
I was actually going to ask that. How strong do you think the evidence
is? I don't think it's strong enough. Because if it's strong enough, I don't think Timi Praise will not be found.
Now, much of what you said borders on the transparency of the judicial process. Are you implying that the judiciary is not transparent enough as far as this matter is concerned?
Are they Nigerians?
From what you've said, Timi Praise Silva is absent, while the rest of the
it's not. I will excuse the judiciary now. You know why? They are not the one. They are not the enforcement. A judge will not sit. It's to adjudicate on what is before the judge. If you come to court, it's the judge will interpret what you are bringing to court. That's not where the problem lies. Okay. It could, because we have had erring judges too. We've seen that over time, you know, of giving judgment that are not worthwhile. So they are all there. But the point at this time, I can't blame the judge. So the judge have not given judgment. We've not had, okay, have you had the judgment now? This is the drama of the executive.
So whose responsibility is it to ensure that all the suspects are present in court?
Those that apprehended them, the DSS. They should come out. They have legal departments. They know what the law says. Go and get him. And let us be sure, at times, because of the slow pace of the judicial process, it could also be a distracting mechanism. I'm sorry.
So that's pointing back at the judiciary.
Obviously, the system could just be trying to play around to dazzle tension, you know. A lot of people say, oh, we want to, the NSAS was attempting to scuttle the government of the day, and then, so it could be a message. It could be a message to the people not to think that way, that, something is ongoing. I'm just talking, things happen because we have had a lot of things. You hear they want to increase the pump fare, and you say, no, Nigerians will not take it. When you hear that they are about to increase it, Nigerians start protesting, talking. After some few days, they died, and the third day they increase it. You see, things like that to test the waters. I'm just talking. But what I'm saying is, it's high time we stopped this here and there and face the real issues. The real issues that borders on national building. And see how Nigerians can be inspired. We cannot continue to live like this and expect something different to happen. Nigerians are depressed, frustrated. Every time you check the social media, they are complaining. Is that what they are talking about? You hear the skits they even put up there, to even they start talking about the president in very bad ways, which I know is the normal way Nigerians behave. He has said it that they abuse him all the time. But my love for Tinubu is absolute, because I know the Tinubu I know is different from the one that's your president now.
Well, we actually do hope that you tell us what it is that makes you love him so much.
Yes, I'll tell you, because I know back in time in Lagos when he was governor, there was a young man who was a laundryman, and he had nothing. I say, someone who you don't take seriously. At times he worship in the mosque. At some other time he runs to church. So such is not consistent. He's with all manner of card. He had a daughter that had a hole in the heart. Then he went to the government house and then to cry, to complain. Then the magnanimity of the governor, it was just like a joke, approved 5 million for him then, that I should take his child out of the country to Israel for operation. That was remarkable. I thought it was a joke.
Wow.
It can't happen. I took my car, I said, let's go. But before we could put things in that, the baby died. Okay, when the baby died, what did we do? We now said, okay, they won't give us, they won't listen to us again. And we went to a government house. Do you know they gave him the money? I was shocked. They gave him the money. And I know so many persons that have, I know folks will not like me for this, They say I'm campaigning for Tinubu. I'm not. I don't have a card. I don't do politics. I'm just being me, Now, there are people that fought him that I know in Lagos. And at some point in time, they were broke. It's the same Tinubu that went to resuscitate them. Sent people to go and assist them.
And that's speaking from a personal point of view.
That's personal point of view. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I said the one I know.
Okay.
So there are some other persons that know some other things.
Some other things. Okay.
You understand? Okay, again, my very good friend Idris. You can be hearing this now, Abdul Karim. When they did bash my car, who was the person that we're talking to? It's Tinubu. That's the car bashing convoy governor.
Yeah,
and
back in the day. Yeah.
Why? What happened? Did he, just imagine a military governor. I love the civility of how he handles things. The idea of I'll deal with you because I'm powerful. No. He brought those boys to the government house and they all became, it's Tinubu that also started this one-day governor of children. If you are the best in your academic faith, you become governor of the state for one day. And they'll parade you around to make you feel involved. I'm not saying he's the best.
Okay.
I'm not campaigning for him. Nigerians can still vote him out if they wish. Exercise your voters' right and get the best for yourself. But I don't have any personal grudge against him. That is me. And against any Nigerian.
All right, fair enough. It's still this morning on ITV. We shall be going on a break now. When we return, we will be wrapping things up on this segment. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still TMI on Independent Television, and I still have Barrister Awo Sagi right here, legal practitioner and a clergyman. Now, what do you think this would portend for Timipre Silva going forward? How do you think this will affect his reputation and his political future?
Well, in fairness, I don't think it will affect him in any way. Like
for someone that is being arraigned for something as serious and as grave as this.
Yes, yes. His opponent or his followers will tell you it's not true. Like I mentioned a while ago that somebody came in from the creek and is governor today. We have had precedents, so I don't see any reason why you think, oh, his reputation will be no.
Now you are hinging this on the corrupt history of the system.
Yes, but it's still an allegation.
Okay.
Are you seeing? It's not what he has not been convicted. If convicts are being celebrated when they get back home, like Onanefi Ebori, after serving jail term, he got back home to Ogara. I think the people were celebrating him. To date, he's still a very big name that you celebrate. You know, so you cannot. The Nigerians they don't operate that way. You know, they know a path that they cannot let go. So to me, Pre-Epsiba is a leader. He have its followers. So for you to just say, oh, he committed this, he did that. Some even will justify it and say, yes, it's because the government was not good. That's why he wanted to join them. It was because of the people. That is why he did that.
All right.
Even if he's convicted. So either way, whether he's convicted or not, he will still retain his followership. Followership is not based on principle. It's based on those that are oppressed and those that don't have a mind of their own, and majority of Nigerians are like that.
All right, I guess
that
this
is the reality.
To leave the conversation. A very big thank you to you, Barrister.
It's always a pleasure.
A legal practitioner and a clergyman. It's been a very interesting conversation, and I hope to have you again some other time.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, it's been this morning on ITV right here in our Benin studio. My name is Harry Agboje, and it's time to join our colleagues in Abuja, Ikaro Ata, for the continuation of the program. Please stay tuned.
Engagement and action here with no one and very beautiful looking Stephanie Aka, who is the Abuja Zonal Marketing Manager for the Start Time brand. Stephanie, a wonderful morning.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be on TMI.
Yes, thank you very much. When we want to talk Start Time with Stephanie, you know you are talking with someone who've been here all through the years, very in the Start Time brand. And as Start Times evolve and metamorphose and go into areas as part of their diversification initiative, yes, Stephanie is following through and marketing all brands. And you also know that independent television, your darling station on the Start Times satellite platform here. Now, quickly, let's go on with Stephanie now. Let's start our conversation again with more enlightenment on the decoders.
Okay, good morning. It's always a pleasure to be on your
talk to you. Right.
So, affordable digital entertainment to Nigerians, and from the past 15 years, we have been able to stay true to that mission. And active of the fact that there are so many pay TV companies out there, we continue to deliver 24 hours entertainment at affordable rates to Nigerians. And for our Start Times decoders, we have two types of decoders. We have the antenna decoder as well as the dish decoder. Now the antenna decoder, just like I said, is a terrestrial decoder, and this decoder is going for 17,000 naira. This decoder has 4 bouquets that come with it. We also have the dish decoder, which is a satellite decoder. Other people know it as the DTH decoder. That is the direct-to-home decoder. And this decoder is going at 35,000 naira. Now, if you have an existing subscriber, maybe you had a decoder, you have the antenna or you have the dish, but you just want to purchase just the set-top box, we have that package available for you. So if you want to purchase just the antenna decoder, this is going for 14,000 naira. Okay. And then while the dish decoder without the dish and the accessories is going for 16,000 naira.
Okay, that means within the context of usage there are some persons. But now let's look at, I haven't discussed that. Let's touch a little bit of our content for the week. What are we giving our persons who are Start Time subscribers, who are persons who are glued to hoping to get the best of entertainment, infotainment, edutainment from Start Time?
So I always like to tell people that content is king, right? You're not just buying the decoder to decorate your house.
More than that. Go when you sit and you push your handset away, or you even watch from the handset. Something.
Yeah, so content is king and queen. Just look I have to agree with
that's what we're watching.
Yes, the content is king and queen, and that is why StarTimes has quite a vast lineup. I tell people that no matter what you're Reborn is also a very interesting series that is on. This is actually a drama series that airs fresh episodes every week on the ST Novella E+ channel. We are also going to follow by Gangs of Manila. Gangs of Manila is actually a fan favorite on the StarTimes Novella E+ channel. We are currently on the season 3. So you have been following season 1, 2. You'll be very excited to also follow up on the season 3 of Gangs Manila. And this is what we have for our ST Novella E+ channels on our platform. Moving on to our Bollywood entertainment channel, we have Star Life. Star Life is actually a fan favorite as well on the StarTimes network, and this is Mamnat. Mamnat is actually an interesting story about a chef. It's actually a story of resilience. Moving on, we also have Kufi. Kufi is also a fan favorite on the Star Life channel. It's the story of a little girl. I don't like to give spoilers, but you can catch fresh episodes of Kufi on Star Life channel. For our TLC channel, which is actually the lifestyle category, we have Star vs Food. This is actually a celebratory cooking show, and if you want to learn anything, you want to learn new recipes, you can also watch on TLC. We have the Bad Skin Doctor. This is actually a dermatologist documentary series show. You kind of things like your remedies, some of those issues that come with the skin, and you can pick up some tips on this program. Moving on to the documentary aspect, I actually love this. Is actually one of my favorite channels, is the investigative discovery. And what is so great about this channel that it takes you to true life crime stories, and this is the cult behind the killer. It's actually an interesting documentary series, and you can actually pick a thing or two from this documentary. We also have the Killer Confessions. Killer Confessions is actually showing also on investigative discovery channel. Followed by the Hunt for the Missing. This is actually also another interesting documentary series airing on investigative channel. Now, the investigative channel is actually a true live drama series channel, so you can catch all your true crimes there. We also have more programs.
That's from Bollywood.
Yes, we also have more programs for our Bollywood channel. This is actually called ZTV. Now, sometimes, like, we always like to pride ourselves as the home of Bollywood. We have over 7 channels of Bollywood on the StarTimes network.
You grew up with Bollywood.
Sir?
You grew up with Bollywood.
Yes, we grew up with. Yes, I quite agree. Yes.
We followed Ramanda. We I'm going to see the president and commander-in-chief to assent a bill exiting them from the contributory pension scheme, the CPS, one that, according to them, has impoverished them beyond human comprehension. Now, some of them are going home with about 40,000 naira, 30,000 naira, some are 50,000 naira, and yet their colleagues in the military, some of them are going home with about 800 and 700,000 naira, and they are asking, why are they kept like persons made by a lesser God? Why are they left? If possible, they have not even gone to Golgotha, but yet they cry daily, Ella, Ella, lama sabatani. And yet now it's not time for us to discuss with a retired police commissioner who will be joining us via the phone from Kano State. He is Rabiu Aladodo, to share his thought, what he thinks about this contributory pension scheme that has left policemen crying, weeping, marching on the street. The last one, they marched to the gate of the Aso Rock Presidential Villa. A very wonderful and good morning, retired CP, sir.
All right, good morning, ITV.
Very good morning. Now, your colleagues are on the streets of Abuja. They've been here for over a month now protesting. Can you tell us in detail what you understand about this deep controversy that your colleagues said have kept them in abject poverty?
Yes, my position on this is what the Hausa man called Tura Take Bamgo. That means the retirees are at a stage that they can no longer do anything than to go to presidential villa. I'm not in full support of what they are doing, but in reality, they are fighting for our right. I am in support of such a protest, and I am not in support in one way. That means my position on this is, if it is peaceful demonstration, I am in support of it. But if there is violence, I have been telling you people, I am not in support of violence. I am in support of dialogue, peaceful
but they
demonstration.
Said, LOCP.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
They said they've dialogue, they've appealed to Egbetoku, no result. Now they are talking to DC, and DC is not giving them result.
Listen to me. Go and ask the meaning of Chura Takai Bango. That means the situation is pushing us, we are resisting, we are dialoguing, pushing us up to a stage where we reach an iron wall. From there, you cannot move. If you pursue a snake, it will run for its dear life. But by the time it reaches a barrier, a wall, it has no option than to turn back.
And fight.
And fight, yes. Although we are not fighting, we are not really fighting. I'm not after fighting. As a retired commissioner of police, I am ashamed of telling you what I am taking.
What are you taking, sir? We want to know, because tell us what you are taking. Yes, sir.
No, it's a shame.
Because some of them said they are taking 70,000, 40,000, 50,000. Why they are colleagues in the military?
My own is more than 70.
Okay.
Really, commissioner of police. But even if it is up to 100, what is 100,000 today? Today, ask me, commissioner of police.
They used to buy Masa and Suya in Kano.
Look, the reality is this. If it is true that Parliament has, actually passed this bill to the executive, somebody close to me, my belief is, if like President maybe is not aware, the way I'm looking at it, because he's a Democrat, he is looking for second term, and we have our families. If you census all of us retired police officers with our family, at least we have votes that can speak for us. You see? So I think it's a better time for the Mr. President to be informed. He might believe, but I stand on my own idea. I'm not reading anybody's, opinion. It is like he's not aware. Because something less than this issue has happened. It reaches the president, and he has assented to it. What more police? What has police done in Nigeria? What has police done? The military is out of it. SSS is out of it. Immigration is out of it. Everybody is out of it.
The senior policemen also removed themselves and abandoned their orders.
Remove AIGs, and that one does not concern me much.
It should concern you, because how will Ogas remove themselves and leave others? Are they not all policemen? Why are they leading and allowing others to suffer?
Let me tell you, even though I am retired,
yes, sir,
I am looking myself as a disciplined policeman.
Even no matter how disciplined you are, those who remove themselves and cheat others is not fair.
They did not remove themselves.
Who removed them?
I think it's a system
that removed them and allow the junior ones to suffer.
And allow from commissioner of police down
to suffer. AIG will be cooling off, DIG cooling off, IG enjoying.
Let us not waste time on AIG, DIG.
No, we should ask them, why do they remove themselves?
Although, okay, you can ask.
We will ask, ITV will ask them.
Ask, but I don't have reason to ask. My question is, what are my entitlements? Why are my entitlements?
Correct.
Myself, commissioner of police to the constable. Okay. This is my concern.
Thank you very much.
I have never been AIG. I have never been DIG. I have never been IG. So why should I, rub my shoulder with AIG? Even if I'm serving, I cannot rub my shoulder with AIG.
Okay, thank you very much, CP.
But please speak for us. Let us get our rights also.
What we are demanding, ITV believes in fairness, balance, and objectivity.
And tell those who are protesting on our behalf not to be violent.
Okay.
I'm repeating this. Not, in fact, being peaceful, I believe, will make the government to listen to us.
I think even the other policemen who are also trying to stop them knows that when they finish stopping them, they will also go and suffer it.
Let me tell you about those seven. They don't know that those protesting are protesting for them.
They know.
You don't know that we are dying.
Sorry.
Day by day we are dying. They are the ones coming to take over from us as a referees, and they are the ones to benefit.
CP, thank you very much, CP. We wish you all the best, and let's hope that they listen. Right. Thank you very much, CP.
Thank you.
Okay, that's how far we can go on that interview segment. The question is, why will DIG, AIG, and IG be removed from the pension scheme, and CP to constable will have to suffer and bear the brunt? What is good for the IG, the DIG, the AIG is good for the CP, the DCP, the ACP, the CSP, down to the constable. That's the fundamental truth. They are all human beings. They go to the same market. They marry wife who are all female, or married spouse female or male. They raise children with same proportion. The children also goes to school, and yet some are out of it, others are there, military out, DSS out, others out. Then why must the police be there to suffer like children born to old women? Okay, we'll leave you with that thought here. We now take you over to our Lagos Network Center, where we will be discussing about godfatherism. If for nothing, you remember what happened in Anambra State, where the governor was abducted, Chris Wambose at some point, and someone said, the godfather said, my 2 billion or nothing. Over to our Lagos Network Center.
And welcome to the continuation of This Morning on ITV. From our Lagos Network studio, I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. Thank you for joining us this morning, a Thursday, beautiful Thursday morning. And from our Lagos Network studio, we have a lot to be talking about on politics. 2027 is around the corner and everybody's talking politics. But let's not forget about the insecurity in the country. The insecurity is getting worse. We can't be talking politics and leaving that aside, you know. But I know that my TV station here will always mention insecurity in most of our programs on TMI. Anyways, this morning we're going to be looking away from security a little bit and talk politics. And this time we're talking politics in Lagos. We'll be looking at the Lagos APC ticket and its internal politics, talking about godfatherism in Lagos, the succession of politics. I mean, who is going to succeed the governor of Lagos State now? Is he going to be handpicked, or is going to be picked by the people of Lagos State? With me in the studio this morning to do that is Bishop. Bishop is a known name, but let me introduce him again. Bishop James Okocha is here to discuss this with us. He is a political analyst. Bishop, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mama P, and good morning, Nigerians. Good to be here.
How was the trip to Jos?
Yeah, Jos, Abuja. Yeah, well, it's a story for another day because I will tell it on this studio.
Good.
You know, it was at the heat of that insecurity, you know, but thank God that we are surviving.
Thank you for traveling around to see what is actually going on in Nigeria. But let's start with what we're talking about today from Lagos. We're looking at the Lagos APC ticket and its internal political program and problems, and then looking at generally godfatherism in Lagos State. Let me ask you, how would you describe the current state of internal politics within the APC in Lagos? Are they having crisis?
Okay, to a degree of appreciation, they have been able to manage. You know, it's difficult to put people together, you know, and then no matter the squabbles, you have not heard them shouting on the street, you know, so they have been able to manage their internal differences, you know, so kudos to them, because you are not seeing factions here and there doing, press release and all of that. To a very high degree, but although I know that, there are factors, there are blocks, power blocks within the APC Lagos State, and they've been able to manage their interest. I give it to them, honestly.
Okay, let's look at godfatherism. But before we go into godfatherism, we also saw in the past where the Speaker of the House was impeached. But he was brought back in a few hours' time. Even against the governor's wish, he was asked to come back. Or let me leave the governor aside, against the members of the House, because he was impeached by the members of the House.
Yeah.
But against their wish, he was brought back as a Speaker of the House of Assembly, Lagos State. So that brings us to the godfatherism issue. The term godfatherism, is it often associated with Lagos politics, or how would you define it in this context?
Well, it's not just about Lagos State. That's what plays out everywhere. Whether in politics, whether out of politics, the godfather thing shouldn't be perceived wrongly. But because of the way it is used in the Nigerian political circle, that's why some people are saying, no, there shouldn't be godfather. A godfather is one that should, like a role model, that should help you play your role well, that should help you find it easy to, come across things, because he's been there probably. Understand? But we are having a problem in politics, having a godfather, because the godfather will want to have all the monies that should be used to do projects in the state. That's where the problem is. So having a godfather is not something, it's not wrong at all. Everyone should have a role model. Everyone should have a mentor. Everyone should have some. If you don't have someone you are loyal to, someone that directs you, someone that advises you, you are heading for disaster. So it's not a wrong thing, but the way it is done in Nigeria, that a man will come and detect even how you drink water, that's where the problem is. So in the political circle, it has not favored us here in Nigeria, because the godfather wants to be the father of all. So it is not advisable right now to promote the godfatherism, beyond where it is right now, because they are not helping to put one or two together. Instead, they are pushing the governors to a point of non-performance. All right. So that's my take on that.
Okay. Well, you said it's very. It's nothing bad if you have a godfather or a mentor who you look up to, but godfatherism in Nigeria has taken a different shape. So do you believe godfatherism is still a dominant force in determining political candidates in Lagos today? Because we are concentrating on Lagos.
Yes, Lagos. But let me tell you the truth. Lagos is, the ball in Lagos is a different ball game. Lagos is just one state that is unique in everything. Unique in everything. Godfatherism has played a role, serious role, especially from the time a certain president right now becomes the governor. All right, you can see that, and you see some other states have tried that, and it couldn't work. But it's been working in Lagos State. But contrary to how it's being perceived, I know there are organs. There are organs that work with that godfather in Lagos. For example, there is this they call it governance council advocates or something. It's a body that balances the interests of all the local government stakeholders. All right, all the stakeholders and statesmen. They work hand in hand. It's not as if somebody comes and then just close eyes and point somebody without having very serious consideration on very serious issues. For example, in Lagos, they consider you have Lagos West, Lagos East, and Lagos Central. They consider this factor. Even the Godfather considers this factor in Lagos. They consider religion in Lagos. Are you getting it? So there are so many things. They consider the blocks, the power blocks within the APC. They consider these things before you see them, do one thing or the other. So when you look at Lagos State, fine, the Godfather thing, like I said, I am not encouraging it in our political circle because it is an avenue of, I mean, I will say it's a distraction at times to the governor, because at times he doesn't think with his brain. You see somebody directing him like a child. But in Lagos State, it's been a very different ball game. If you ask them, they will tell you that it hasn't gone wrong. They have a plan. They have something that's working out, and the successions have been working. Sustaining the blueprint they have. So for Lagos, well, give it to them. It's working for them. But
okay,
for us,
so Bishop, if I could cut you short in here, are you saying that it's in Lagos has been a positive godfatherism? It's a good thing for Lagos to have godfather. I mean, it's working for them. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it's working for them, because if it's not working for them, we should have seen crisis the way we see it in other states. It has not happened that way in Lagos.
But we saw the crisis with the House of Assembly of Lagos State.
Yeah, but you saw how that crisis was resolved. That's what I'm saying.
Do you think the members of the House of Assembly were happy with that resolvement?
But now you have taken me to where I want to get to. Now, those people in the House of Assembly, they were elected. They were elected to have their own independent mind, to speak the mind of the people they represent. Now, if what was done, if the impunity that was done didn't favor them, what stops them from speaking out?
So that's where the godfatherism comes in.
That's what I'm telling you. I say for them, it seems it's working for them because that you see them relaxed. Are you getting it? It seems it's working for them. But for us who have looked into the things playing out in politics, we are saying that godfatherism in Nigerian politics is not working, it's not favoring the masses, and it should not be encouraged.
Is godfatherism necessarily negative, or it is positive? Or can it stabilize the role of party politics?
Well, this is the point I was making earlier on than before now. You see, someone has to put the people together. Someone has to put the interest together. There has to be a binding factor. But where it is a problem is because the godfathers in Nigerian politics, they cross the line. They don't just put the people together, they also put the monies in pocket. So that's where the issue is.
Well, they put the money in pocket, that's where the issue is. So, I'm not going to ask you to balance what godfatherism is really to you, because that's your opinion. You are saying it's working for Lagos State, and some other people will tell you it's not working for Lagos State. But let's move on to power and structure and the influence of godfatherism in Lagos. How much influence do political godfathers currently wield over candidate selection within the Lagos APC?
But it's absolute influence. It is absolute influence. If anybody, I have not seen anybody that has gone against the godfather in Lagos. In fact, the defection of the PDP governorship candidate back to APC, can substantiate my claims this morning.
Yeah, because he came on air to say that there's no opposition party in Lagos.
That's where I'm going. He left the APC, jumped to the PDP. Right now, he made one attempt in the PDP. Now he has gone back to the APC. Not just that he went back, he said that there is no opposition in Lagos State.
Yes.
That's why I said it's working for them. You see, he has gone back. So if you watch it, you see, nobody has gone against the
Okay,
godfather.
going back to APC and also claiming that there's no opposition in Lagos State, and then you saying it's working for them, do you think it's out of respect for the godfather or fear of what the godfather can do to you?
When I say working for them, I didn't say working for Lagosians. Are you getting it? There are classes, there are circles. For the political circle, people that do politics as business, that's what I'm telling you, that it's working for them. It might not be to the best interest of the Lagosian, because at times I saw that before the sitting governor becomes a governor, I know that Lagosians were asking for Akinwumi Ambode to continue being a governor of Lagos after having performed excellently for 4 years. Are you getting it? But against the interest of the people, because the people are there and their circle, They have their own circle. So he's working for the circle. When Ambode was yanked off, I mean, that's what pleases the circle. It might not please Lagosians, but there is a system they are sustaining.
But didn't we say government is for the people?
Fine, that is what we say, that is what we believe, and that is what it should be. But how many of the political juggernauts, how many of them have the interest of the people at heart? Man, I'm telling you that there has to be a revolution, something, mental revolution, something must happen in Nigeria political circle before we can have it right. Because what is just there is that you see people who see politics as business, you know, clamoring for political positions, and once they get there, there is nothing else they go for. It's just get and let's share. And the interest of the people is stampeded. So that's the issue. So for me, Godfatherism, I said it before, should not be encouraged, because they are not just showing governors the way to do things and have it easy. They are caging. I mean, there are godfathers that will even tell the governor, you can only appoint 2 commissioners. I do the appointment for you. I do all this thing for you. So it's a problem, you know, for me.
Bishop, I mean, is it actually what the people want?
It's not what the people want. And how many of them have done what the people want? That's why I have been encouraging the people. See, the office of the citizen is the highest office